These are devotions for people at a social distance. Once again, I am reminded today that we are living in very polarized, very divisive times. And of course, one of the things that divides us in these days are restrictions put in place, incentives put in place around this pandemic, and those who resist those kinds of efforts. And one thing, of course, we're seeing, especially right now, is strong resistance to vaccine mandates. Now, this is not really as divisive as we are sometimes led to believe, because by far the majority of people are vaccinated, and the majority are in favor of some kind of vaccine mandate to enter into certain places. But those who are opposed are extremely opposed, and those, or at least some of those who are opposed, are extremely opposed. And we see some wild demonstrations of opposition and division. And so, for example, we saw this over the weekend. We saw this demonstration at the Eaton Centre in Toronto, in which people were assaulting police, or have been charged with assaulting police, and this is disturbing. This is upsetting, and there's every reason, indeed, to be upset when we see this kind of division and opposition against what are fairly sensible, as far as I'm concerned, as far as the majority are concerned, public health measures. What do we do when we're living in divisive times is a very good question. And one answer I find today in the book of Titus. The temptation, of course, in such times is to turn back on those who are being divisive and oppositional and maybe aggressive, and give back to them in the same way that they are giving to us. But Titus says this, Titus 2:7-8, show yourselves in all respects a model of good works. In your teaching show integrity, gravity, and sound speech that cannot be censured. Then any opponent will be put to shame, having nothing evil to say of us. The first step in divisive times, in polarized times, is to be strong, to have integrity, to have courage in ourselves. The first thing is not to inflame opposition. The first thing is to have that integrity, because you know what? Those whose extreme opposition and extreme acts of threats and violence, when it comes to that, will ultimately put them to shame all by themselves without us needing to lift our fingers. Now, that's not the only solution to living in times of opposition and polarization, but I think it's a very important part. First, let's look to ourselves. Lord our God, in these times, difficult times of division, of polarization, let us follow the example given in this letter to Titus. Let us be people of integrity. Let us stand firm in what we know is true. Act in kindness and goodness insofar as we ourselves are able. Amen.